So today I'm working on what's going to hopefully be a skull ring. Hence the reference picture up here. I think I'm just going to go for a upper jaw only, so I'm ignoring this bit for now. But yeah, it's obviously like still a really rough shape at the moment. I prepped this already this morning, so I've already done like an hour or so's work on it. But yeah, that's what we're working on now. I can show you the first skull ring I did. I just feel like I can probably do a better job than this now, or like, you know, this is quite a simple style skull. I think I could make something a bit more realistic, so yeah, gonna try and do that. And I can also show you, this is one I finished this morning in silver, little baby skull ring, which I think is quite cute. So you can see how wide this is at the moment. It's just, I cut it as from the block, so like this is the last bit of the block. I cut it from the block as big as I think I'm going to need it, and then I whittle down. So obviously the band won't be this wide at the end, but it's good to keep the band thick while you're working on the front, because you're less likely to break it. So that's why it looks really spooky and like this at the moment. But yeah, I think what I want to do now, so obviously I'm going to need to put like eyes and nose and shape the front a bit more, but what I want to do now is shape this jaw here to be this kind of shape. So I'm thinking about doing that, but I'm also just still taking material off because this is massive at the moment. But that'll be a thing that happens all the way through, so yeah. Now, I might quickly rough in the eyes and the nose so that you can see what I'm thinking of doing. So, right, I want to do one that is more similar to this. I want to have a sort of, I don't know, more realistic looking guy. So I'm going to pop his nose here. Probably a bit big, never mind. And then put his eyes like here. Maybe. This all might end up getting like completely recarved. And that's just sort of something I have to accept about my own process, is that I don't always get it right the first time, and sometimes I still just left too much material on, so it makes sense to redo it. So now I'm taking this ball burr, I don't know if you can see that. I think I might get some bigger ones. But yeah, taking this ball burr, and I've got a Fordham SR flex shaft, so I just need to turn that on. And I don't, oh, am I back? Yeah. These aren't like specifically for wax, but like any tools, I'm kind of like, as long as you keep them clean and are aware that wax melts, so you can't use super high speeds, it's fine. You just need to be careful. So I'm now just going to carve out those eyes and nose that I've just put on there, so that we can see kind of where the face is going to take shape. So like, I just went a bit too quick there, so I know I need to take any of the melted wax out of the little grooves in the ball. They look a bit far apart actually. Whoops. Make them bigger. this looks so comical to me, I think, because it looks like a cartoon. But remember as well to actually take stock of how deep this is and not go through the back. I mean, it'd be fine if I did, but so I'm doing these quite deep, partly because I just think it looks better, and partly because I think I still might take quite a lot of material off the top, so if I do them deep, then that doesn't matter, because I'll be able to like it'll all make sense in the end. Yeah. I thought they were too close together, too far apart, and then I've made them closer together, and now I think they're too close together. So that's cool. Funny Bones, yeah, exactly. It does look. I think that is what it's reminding me of, is Funny Bones. Is that the same as the in a dark, dark town there's a dark, dark street? Is that Funny Bones? I think it is, isn't it? With the little dog. So you can see how it's supposed to be a skull now. Do you know what I mean? You can kind of got a better idea of what the bits are, I think. So here I'm just sort of marking in where I think there's going to be more details that need hollowing out or whatever. Human skulls are weird, man. The way that our eye sockets are like connected to the rest of our heads, odd, very bizarre. So we've got that, and then there's like a big long cheekbone here. So I'm just looking at this picture here to try and transfer some of the things. This one also has like a, I've not seen this before. It's like this bit here, it looks like a broken nose. I'm sure that's not what it is, but it's kind of interesting. And so I think this is also going to have to change, this bottom one here. It's going to go like that. It's looking very basic at the moment, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. The longer you work on it, the better it'll get, so just gotta put the time in. This is switching it up. So the question is, have you modelled your skull rings from this pic before, or is this switching it up? This is a new book that I got, and I have used different things for skulls in the past. One of my favourite things is Sketchfab, which I have on my iPad, which is it's an app where you can look through 3D images, and it's really good for doing 3D things, especially if you're not familiar with them, because you can like scroll on the screen and it shows you different views of the thing. So if you are a person that struggles with it, or if you're doing something new for the first time, it can be really helpful to see that 3D view. So yeah, Sketchfab is a good app. It's free as well, and it's all like user generated content, so it's cool to be able to like use the work of other people to yeah, inform your own work. It's really cool. So yeah, but no, I just thought, because I have this book and it's new, and I like this skull guy, I was like, we'll just get him out. To be honest, I don't know how much like this it's actually going to look. It's more for things like just general proportions and stuff, and like where the lines actually go, and where things are in proportion to each other. So like I don't think this piece will actually end up looking like this picture, but I think it's a good kind of reference picture. It's quite a clear one, which I like. But yeah, I've done a few skulls now, so I have a kind of idea of the way that I do skulls, the way that I like them. So yeah. Also, I think I do this every time. I think I make the eye sockets too thick. So that's going to need to come down. It's kind of better to start that way though. Better to start too thick and then whittle it down than go too thin too early and ruin it. But you can always build stuff back up again as well if you've got heat. So I'm literally just like roughing out where I think I'm going to remove more material. And at the moment that is behind the eye socket, or like to the side of the eye socket. I can't stop thinking about how much it just looks like a Funny Bones character. I'm hoping by the end it won't. At the moment I'm just sort of cleaning up the band a little bit. So I filed it with a big file, so now I'm filing it with a small file. And hopefully today, in the next sort of hour or so, we are going to, or I, with you, I'm going to work on the detail of the front to make this look a bit more like an actual skull. So I've like hollowed out some parts of the skull and I've added like, I've made the eye holes bigger, the eye sockets, and I've added little tooth grooves. So I've been looking at lots of different pictures of skulls because they all kind of look different and people display them in different ways and stuff. But basically I'm not really super happy with this skull. I just think it looks too square. I don't think they're usually this square. And obviously this is just the upper part, so there's no lower jaw. But I don't know, I've been working on it off and on today and I just keep coming back to it, like there's something here that I don't like. And I think it's this line. I think this is too square and far out. So obviously usually the actual head would like continue out here and it'd be this big round bit and then you'd have a cut off. And I think essentially I need to take this higher, so like take more material off this bottom bit here, and then add this jawbone back in, but at a higher angle, because I think it's too horizontal at the moment. So I don't know if this is the case, like I might be wrong, I might regret doing this, but that's fine. So I'm going to file this off altogether, and then we're going to have to add that bone back, and I'm going to be using this, which is new. Never used it before. You can see I've like experimented a little bit with it, but it's actually a type of dental wax. So it is used for like making models and like detailed carving work, but it's not actually like designed for jewelers, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not sold at jewellery suppliers, whereas the waxes that I usually use are. So that's exciting. It's got a really interesting texture, this. I'm quite excited to try it out. But yeah, let's start off with what might be a big mistake and take off these jawbones. And yeah, wish me luck. I don't know what's going to happen. Let me know if you've got any questions or if you have any suggestions as we're going. It'd be really helpful. Also have to be careful here that I'm not like accidentally filing off bits that I do like. But to be honest, that would be fine anyway, even if I did. This also means we get a thinner band, which is kind of good. It does also look like I'm going to have to go in deeper again, which is interesting, to hollow it out more. So I'm kind of taking off some of that detail, which is a bit annoying, but ultimately fine. This is the thing with doing everything freehand as well, is really have to try and make sure everything's even, because I haven't marked any of this out, so I might end up with one side much bigger than the other. But you can also just cross your fingers that that doesn't happen and then keep working on it. I do need to be a bit careful though that I don't make the back too thin, just because I'm more likely to break it while I'm working if I make it too thin too early. And I don't really want to do that because that's just more work for myself. Okay, I think what I'm also discovering is that this guy is just much wonkier than I realised. I think it looked more even when it was bigger, and now that I'm taking material off, I'm like, oh, he's quite off-centre actually. Never mind. That's the thing, we can always build it up again. That looks kind of even. Probably. It's kind of annoying with wax. Sometimes you don't know if the next like swipe that you do is going to be the one that you go, oh damn it, I wish I didn't do that. But it's fine. Right. Should we zoom you in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing more? So I've taken off the lower jaws, well, the upper, I don't know what you call it. I've taken off a bit of the jaw. I'm going to try and build it back on now. This will be my first try using this new wax. So let's see how that goes. So supposedly one of the good things about this kind of wax is that once it's, I was about to say dry, once it's sort of room temperature, you can carve it again, which is something that's quite hard to get in other kinds of waxes. So it means that I need to be careful, but not, like, it's more forgivable because I can actually cut into the surface of this again, which is cool. It's very weird, it goes very liquidy when it's melted. I also think I'm just doing exactly the same thing again, annoyingly. I think I'm making the same mistake, so I need to take it higher. It's so liquidy, it's actually hard to get onto my wax pen. Right, so what did I say? Higher jawbone, okay. Maybe up like there? So when you look at a skull from underneath, it actually has holes where these jaw bits are, like this. I wonder if I can show you. I think there's a picture in here somewhere. I'm sure I saw one earlier. Let's see though. I can't remember which chapter it's from, so this might be... No, there it is. Okay. So, I don't know if you can see that. So this is looking at a skull from underneath with no lower jaw. And you can see this bit here is what I'm working on now, which is what kind of looks like the cheekbone on the front. It actually has a hole. And obviously I'm not going to put a hole in my ring because I think I don't have quite enough space to do that. But I think that's something I need to remember, is that actually it comes away quite far from the rest of the skull. So yeah, isn't it spooky to look at a skull from this angle? Like, that's where the neck would be, the spine attached. That's the nose hole from the inside. Gross. Very weird. Not a fan. Actually, yeah, I'm a fan. I think it's really interesting, but anyway. Just got this page open at the moment because we've got a few different views of different skulls. I'm hoping that might help. Because this is the other thing, is that, you know, they don't actually all look the same in real life anyway. So there should be some leeway in what we're producing. It doesn't have to look exactly like a reference picture, because even the reference pictures will be different. Because if we look at all our actual skulls, they would be different as well. So what I'm trying to do with this piece is a combination of carving and building up. So obviously, as you can see, I carved the green bit all from one solid piece and just took away material to leave what's here. And now I'm trying to add some of that detail back in. There are some people who exclusively do one or the other. So some people who exclusively carve and they don't build up really at all. They might do it to fix mistakes, or they might not do it at all. And then there are other people who only use the build-up method. So they don't start off with any like pre-made wax. They just use molten wax and drip it until it becomes the thing that they want it to be, which is really cool and impressive. It's almost like a different skill altogether. I have to say, I'm really enjoying how this looks when it's cooled. Like, it has a really nice finish already. It's like shiny, which is nice. The shinier your wax is when you sort of finish it, the less you have to do in the silver. Right, I feel like I've done exactly the same thing again, which is annoying. I feel like it still kind of looks a bit weird and low and not the vibe. I'm going to keep going for a bit and see if building it up is helpful. And then we can try carving it off as well. I'm excited to try that. I'm trying to make sure that I actually turn the work as I'm working on it, to make sure that I'm looking at it from different angles, because I think sometimes you can forget that it's 3D. And sometimes you can see mistakes, or you can build nicer shapes by looking at it from different angles as you're working. Oh, that's a lot too much wax, isn't it? Whoops. Spread some of it out with the pen, and some of it will be carved off. Though actually, I kind of like that. Right, maybe that was a happy accident. This is cool. what is the pen gadget you're using? So this is a Speedy Wax pen, and it's literally a battery operated heating element. I think if you knew anything about electronics, you'd be able to make one of these really easily. But I use rechargeable batteries. It's just got one battery in here. And then, can you see that? It's just got like a, so this is the sort of heating element thing. You just take these out, pop it in, and then that wire at the end heats up. You can get different shaped ones. I've got a couple of shapes somewhere. Can I see them? So I've got replacement like nibs that are slightly different shapes. To be honest, haven't really figured out what shapes I like to use for what yet. And they break really easily, so I just use whichever one I fancy until it breaks, and then I'll put a new one in. But yeah, it's just a little heat pen. So yeah, you press the green button and it heats up the wire at the end. So I heat up the wire, put it in the wax, let it cool down, and lift a bit of wax out. That's how I'm doing that at the moment. Should we give it some brow? Maybe give it a brow. Not an eyebrow, just brow bone, that's what I mean. You can get much more sophisticated versions of these with like variable temperatures and stuff, which I think if you are or people who, oh wow, I've heated that up too much, people who exclusively or predominantly build up their waxes, they need those tools really, because different waxes have different melting temperatures and they react slightly differently to different heats. So with this, it's either on or off, and I kind of have to control it by how much I tap the button. But you can get ones that have little temperature gauges on them, and ones that have lots of different ends, and lots of people make their own tools, their own ends for them, which is cool. But yeah, I haven't got to that point yet where I feel like that's necessary. I like this wax. I'm not sure about this still. I wonder if you can file it. Might have to try. Might be too soft to file, I don't know. It's looking very grumpy. We go. Where's my file? Let's see. Kind of. I think that's probably a bit too gummy for my file. I think that's going to make my file too messy. So let's not do that. But so we've got another just regular carving tool. Ooh, yeah. Okay, this is cool. Probably shouldn't do that right into my clean wax. Okay, so you can carve it. Great. I know it looks really weird using the different colours, and sometimes I do think it can be a bit confusing to your eye when you're trying to think about what it might look like in silver. But the benefit of being able to use different waxes on one piece, I think, outweighs that annoyingness. Is this guy's forehead too small? Is that why he looks weird? I don't know. I'm just going to take the top of the nose out again. I do kind of want a little pointy top. I kind of like it to look like a little upside down heart, which I think that does. Sweet. Okay. Shall I add teeth? Will that help us decide what's wrong with him? Maybe this is too far out. It looks like he would have had a real button nose in life, which is cute. But maybe weird. Don't know. Let me know what you think. I'm going to try and add some teeth. So my favourite method for adding teeth is to drill holes where the teeth are going to be. And I discovered that through lots of trial and error when making the tiny skulls. And oh my gosh, it is my favourite discovery. I think it's really made my life easier when I've been making skull things. Like, I think making the tiny skulls is going to be much easier now that I have this wax. Because I think it's going to be good. To be honest, I might have just made an anatomical mistake, because I'm just thinking now about how many teeth you have. And I know they don't go all the way to the back of your head, but they do go further back than this. Maybe that is my problem. Just looking through my book, find another reference picture I want to use. I mean, some of them don't really look like skulls at all. I think maybe I've done too few teeth. Maybe this is part of the problem. I mean, they don't have to be exactly accurate. This guy's fun. But, you know, I do want it to actually look like a skull. And he's kind of too square. He's just too square all round. Not really sure what to do about that, though. I mean, obviously round it off, but, like, where is it too square is the question that I'm asking. Where is it too square? Maybe up here. Maybe I'm going to actually just straight up file his head more. ASMR incoming. Get ready. Am I making a mistake? La, la, la. Probably. Though I do actually think this filing is helping. my fingernail. That's why I need to look at my actual hands and not at the screen. Oh yeah, this is definitely making a difference. Okay, sweet. I think the whole thing just started off bigger than I intended it, and then I've not graded the whole thing down. Does that make any sense? Like, it started off really big, and then I made some of the features smaller and closer together, and I've just forgotten to, or I haven't realised that I also needed to do that to the, like, upper area of the skull, if that makes sense. Because also it's weird because it's on a band. I kind of have to think about the way that it integrates with the band, because obviously the band doesn't exist in a real skull. So yeah, trying to figure out the sort of perfect way or place for it to become one with the band. Got School of Rock songs stuck in my head now. Can you see the difference between before and now? Basically just filed the temples off to a more round shape. It's the only thing with this green wax, I do think it's kind of hard to see on camera what I'm talking about sometimes because it's so dark. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that for now. Gonna take some of the big file marks out with my small file before I work on it more, because obviously it's just easier to clean up as you go. Like, this stuff might all end up with more wax on top of it, so it kind of doesn't matter. But I just think it's good. I'm more likely to succeed in the future if I make sure everything is like as good as it can be now. It's annoying when you get to a point sometimes where you're like, oh good, I'm nearly finished, and then you notice like a really hard to reach area needs filing, and you're like, oh damn it. I'm trying not to take any more off the top here because I think he's starting to look like a bit of a small foreheaded person, which is fine, but if I take off any more he's going to look really out of proportion, which he kind of already does. Okay. I think that's slightly better. I'm wondering if I can round it off even more. I'm not sure what I need to do though. Because these bits here, so either side of the eye sockets, so these are the eye sockets and this here is supposed to be the cheekbone, and that's the unbuilt up version over here. Then this like recessed bit I think needs to go deeper, but we need to maintain the roundness up here. And I think I'm going to use my tool, my rotary tool, my flex shaft for that. I can't believe how much difference that made. And I was like, this is going to ruin it. What am I like? I don't even know what I'm talking about. Right. But this is why trial and error is good. Right, so I'm going to change to this, like, quite big, was it 1mm? Don't know, I've got my inches side on here, that's not helpful. I think it's a millimetre ball burr, and I'm going to just take away more of this material, trying to keep that top round bit, trying to keep it in in, what's the word, like proportion with that. So I'm only using my flex shift on a really slow speed because the wax will just melt to the tool if I'm not careful. Which is fine, but it just means it won't cut anymore and it'll smell really bad. Okay. So I'm trying to make sure I like smooth it out into the shapes that we already have. So there's not just like a random hole. Try and make it look like one smooth piece. Like I want the curves to all make sense. I'm still not sure about this bit here. Oh, damn it. Sorry about the sound of the machine. I know it's not the nicest. Okay, I'm starting to get quite thin there, so I definitely need to be careful with that. I might go all the way through if I'm not careful. Okay, so here, that smooth wax, that white wax, that beige stuff has just got stuck, so I need to make sure that I keep cleaning this off. That's not too bad. Oops. Saves me so much time, this thing. Love it. But also when you make mistakes, they are really mistakes, so that's kind of not a great thing. Right, where are we? This one's quite deep. This one is not as deep. Okay, keep going. What do I think? We don't know yet. Right, let's get some hand carving in here. So obviously where I've used that ball burr, it's left like a texture. And I don't want that. I want it to be all smooth, I think. So just going to scrape over the surface with this little round blade. And just hope that that evens it out enough without taking off too much more material. It was probably a good idea to do this before the bone bit, really. Which I obviously didn't do on the other side, but that's okay. Oh gosh. So this is where I was saying about keeping the band not too thin. Is I still have to use quite a lot of pressure when I'm using the hand tool. So I don't want to squish it and break it, but you do have to hold everything quite firmly to actually be able to scrape away the wax. It does give a nicer finish though than most other things. I think this is looking better. And I'm wondering if taking the band down further will give it more of that round skull head shape. So like taking this further down, but like keeping with that roundness. I think that might help. Might try and do that in a minute. Hurt the forehead, oh no. So the good thing about the rotary tool is that you don't have to use as much pressure. Obviously it does a lot of the like cutting work for you, but it can slip really easily and then it like ruins whatever else it's touched. I say ruins, it's fine. I mean, I've just nearly got rid of that mark already, so it's not like the end of the world, but it's also not what you want really. It's kind of annoying, especially if what you've done is like perfect and then you accidentally run your burr over it. That's pain. Okay. So I also think this needs to be higher. So on the other side, I'm actually going to try and do it a little bit differently, and then I'll decide which one I like more, and then make the other one match, and then potentially take this top down like I was saying just before. So back to the wax pen, and I'm gonna try and add this jaw. I'm gonna try and bring it up more. Let's see if we can get a sideways image to work from. So this obviously isn't the first time I've done a skull ring, but it is the first time in quite a long time that I've done this. Oh, has my wax pen stopped working? That's good. Oh no, here we go. It is a bit dodgy, I have to say, I think, because it's like a bit of a cheapy tool. It's not like the most 100% reliable thing I've ever used. Sometimes just sort of seems to stop working. And I can never really tell why. I think this maybe needs to go in a bit more. Yeah, that's better. So currently just sort of like marking out the line I think I want it to take. It's like slightly more upwards, I think, than the other side. And then we'll build it up on top of that once I can see where it's supposed to be going. I think that looks better for me for now. I'm trying to do it without looking at the other side too much because I think I'll accidentally start trying to making it symmetrical, and that's not the goal here. I mean, obviously it is eventually, but I'm trying to do this one differently to the first one so that we can see which is better. That is better. This is good. We are making progress, I believe. Yeah, I think that's... Do you know what? There's not that much difference between this side and this side, but for some reason, I just feel like this side is more in proportion to the curve of what the skull would be if it was a whole thing. Whereas this one is just sort of like sitting along the bottom of the band. I don't know, they don't look that different, but they feel different. It's interesting. I think it needs another tooth as well. Better. Maybe we want to put a tooth on both. Yeah, definitely. Let's do that. Giving it more back teeth. Makes it look a bit more realistic. Obviously, you can only do that so far, but... I do really like how this wax sort of reacts. It's cool. It's nice. Don't know if I need to make these teeth a bit like sharper at the bottom. I kind of like the weird roundness. I think they're kind of appealing, but I think that's just me. I'm going to try and make this other side match now. Here's our other problem, is that the teeth are not right in the middle. So maybe this needs to come down more. I'm in the territory of going too far. But I'm going to just keep going, see what happens. Hey. Let me know if you've got any questions. I'm probably not going to stay on live for that much longer. So if you have any questions, let me know. Obviously trying to work on a skull ring right now. Hopefully you can tell what it is. I still think maybe it's not the one though. Still not as good as I would hope it to be. But I've still been doing this less than a year, so that's probably fair enough. I think maybe I'm still too swayed by the shape of the ring wax at the beginning. I feel like I know how to make the ring wax into a bit of more of a skull shape, but what I want is to be able to make a skull that is also a ring, rather than making the ring wax look like a skull. And there's only a tiny difference between those two things, but I think that's the crux of the issue. Oh, I really don't know how I feel about this. It's one of those ones where I'm like, am I just going to keep on going on this forever and ever and ever? Maybe. I don't think this is good. But I do think it's better than it was before. Interesting. It's warm. I forget I'm using heat even though I'm melting wax, and then sometimes I touch it and get molten wax on me. Maybe this is weird, this bit here, and take it off. Carvability of this wax is freaking great. It's expensive, but I'm glad I got it because it's really like interesting to work with, but like really, I don't know, it feels like it's making quite a big difference to what I can do. Like obviously this is my very first time using it, so hopefully I'll get better. Get more understanding of what you can do with it and what the best way to work it is. Now that I've got my teeth in, I'm just going to take some of this away at the back, because I think weirdly the teeth kind of usually stick out forwards a little bit, and I think the extra material on the back's taking away from that effect, so I'm just going to take some of that off. What I will also do at some point, if this was to be cast, which I don't know if I will cast it, is carve out the back of this a little bit. Because because it's so thick, it's hard to get a good size, and they're a bit hard to wear. I think they fit a bit nicer when you've taken out a bit of material on the inside. I mean, maybe it's just me because I've got really padded hands, but yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about this thing. I feel like he looks more goofy than I wanted him to, but I also still think it maybe is better than the original one I did. I just don't know. Oops, didn't mean to add it there. That's what happens when you don't think about what you're doing. Okay, we've saved it. Don't worry, guys. Sorry, I hope that's actually been in the screen this whole time. It's the only thing when I've got it zoomed in. I need to remind myself to actually check that you can see what I'm doing. So I've been working on this like profile, I guess. Trying to figure out what would make it more realistic, what would make it more recognisably a skull. Oh, I just took off one of the teeth. Sorry. Amateur dentistry happening there. This is cool. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. I'm starting to be able to see the teeth, the white teeth through the green wax. It really looks like teeth in gums. Which is kind of creepy, but that's the vibe. Ooh, it's so spooky being able to see like half the teeth in there. I think that's good though. Do we think that's better? Don't know. Add that tooth back that I just took off. Bit round maybe. Need to add a bit more up here. There we go. Bit more like a tooth shape. I think the ones on one side are a bit shorter than the other as well, so I'm going to try and just make them a bit more even. Or completely overdo it, which is what it looks like I'm doing now. But I can cut them down. Oh, ruined it. Not actually, but that thing happened again with the weird liquid surface tension thing. I just want to build it where I want it, but if the wax near it is too warm, it all just kind of melts together. I should definitely not be a dentist. Which is funny actually, because lots of the techniques that you use for carving are actually dentist techniques. Like this is dental wax I'm using now. Dental tools. I'm making teeth. But they don't look great. And it's hard as well with the teeth. You want them to be like you want them to read as separate teeth, but you don't want them to look like too gappy. Because that is definitely a stylistic choice that some people would make, but I don't like it to look too gappy because I think it takes away from how realistic it is. I think you can take out a whole tooth and that can look pretty good. Broken tooth? What do we think? Do I like broken tooth? Do I think that's more spooky? It's kind of giving me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm going to put that tooth back in. And then instead of using the blade, I'll just scrape a little off in between so that we can see the two different teeth. Looks better. You like the clip tooth look? Maybe that's another one we can do. I think I can do... Maybe this is how I practice doing skulls, is that I'll do like a different variation each time. And we could do one with fangs, and one with pointy teeth, and one with like a missing tooth. Do you know what would be really cute? I don't gold plate myself or do any soldering or anything, but imagine just putting a gold tooth in it. That would be so cute. Oh, I just broke it again. Seriously. Maybe it has to be a chipped tooth because I can't quite get this one to work. I don't know, but I'm really liking this wax. This is very cool. I think I just feel frustrated because I can tell that I need to learn a bit more about how to use it. Now I'm building the tooth up again. I'm just going to do it. Just need to make sure it's actually properly melted on. Try and make sure the wax is cool when I start and hot on the pen, so that we get it in a blob like that. Cool that down. And then manipulate it a little bit. What do we think? I'm aware his face looks really odd with the two different wax colours, but I think the profile's okay. I don't know, man. There's something going on with this that I don't love, and I cannot figure out what it is. So I've decided this looks so weird and Neanderthal-y because it's really square. So I think it needs a rounder forehead, it needs like more material up here. I think I need to carve this around. So that's what I'm going to try. So I'm just trying to reshape this a little bit. So I've taken off a bit here, and I think the forehead needs to be bigger, so I need to figure that out as well. I don't know if you've got any questions if you're watching. I just was looking at this and thinking, oh, I want to keep going. I just want to have a little go on it, and thought I'll just go live in case anyone else is interested in how it goes. So I'm also noticing that the cheekbones aren't symmetrical. They don't look too bad on the camera, but I think this one's bigger. It's really nice. This new wax is really, really nice. I really like it. I think it's going to take me a while to get used to, but it's really good. You can really carve into it and build it up. It reacts quite differently to any of the other waxes I've tried, but yeah, it's really good. I really like it. I like doing the teeth with it. I think they've come out quite nice. And I haven't really done that much to them. So yeah, very highly rated this. Really like that. But like I said, I think it'll take me a bit of time to get better at using it. It's quite expensive. I think if I was just starting out, even though I do think this is really good, I think you want to practice with your tools a bit more before you pay this much. Yeah, and it's a bit of a pain to get hold of because you can't get it from the normal jewellery supplier places. But yeah, I do really like it if you're looking for something that you want to be able to melt and carve. It's magic. So I'm just building up the forehead a little bit to try and change that profile a bit. Yeah, there's an apt use, I think, for the dental wax, yeah. Using it for the teeth. It just comes out really nice, like once it's fully dry and cool, it's like really shiny, which I really like. So like I feel like once I get a bit better with this heat tool, a bit more practiced, like it'll really cut down on the amount of like extra work I need to do. Yeah, I really like it. I think this is already looking better. I'm weirdly finding that the lighter colour of this wax is also kind of... I feel like I can see it a bit more clearly. Maybe it's just because it's against the green wax. But yeah, that's an unforeseen benefit, I think. Now that the forehead's bigger, I'm thinking the cheeks are looking a bit odd. Maybe they're a bit big. Interesting. So I'm just sort of carving away some of that wax to give the like sort of brow bone look here. Right, I'm gonna try and find a picture to try and help me decide what to do with these bits, because I definitely think that's improved it, taking the corners off and then building up the forehead, but still not the way. It's still not perfect, so let's see if we can find another reference image. Gonna use this picture. Right, so I think the cheekbones are still too big. I actually think more of the face needs to be taken up by the like the bit where the gums are, where the teeth come from, which means I've put my nose too low, possibly. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not sure exactly what the solution's going to be, but I'm just going to start working on it again, see where we go. Whoops, gonna lose some teeth if I'm not careful. I keep doing that thing where I'm like holding my breath because I'm kind of trying to concentrate and I'm trying not to break anything, and yeah, doing stuff that's like kind of delicate. I find myself going and then not breathing while I do it, but I don't think that's very helpful. I think this is looking better. So I'm like lifting the cheekbone to up here rather than down here. Yeah, Let me know if you've got any questions or anything at all if you're watching. I'm trying to like catch some of this. Trying to catch some of the wax that I'm getting off, because it's nice wax and I don't want to like just waste it. Oh, that was stupid. What's the point of trying to catch it if you then just blow it all off? Silly me. Oops, broke a tooth. That was expected. I'm going to put this on. Put this on a wooden mandrel so that I have something a bit more to grip on, and I'm less likely to break the band as I'm doing this. Yeah, if you've got one, it's definitely a good thing to use. I don't do it that much, but it's a good like backup to have. And yeah, if you have one and it's something that you can remember to do, then absolutely do it. I think that's the only reason I don't do it more, is because I forget when I'm working on things that would be helpful. So yeah, I do recommend it. This is just like a really cheapy wooden one that I literally bought for this purpose. So I have like a nice metal one just for sizes, and then I have a Rima one with a blade for sizing. But because I don't use any like hammers or anything, I just have this for like stabilizing my work. feeling so much better about the shape of this now. I know it's looking really weird because of the colours, but I kind of think this is good. I think maybe the teeth are a bit far back, really, but yeah, I think I can live with that. I think this is working. And it's good to have seen the difference between the very beginning of when I was trying and now. Like, it feels like a big difference between the first live I did of this one and now, which is cool. I think I could make a little bit more here on the corners, and then I think I need to put some detail in here maybe. Another tooth there, looks like it's missing a tooth, but not in an on-purpose way, it just looks like I've cut it off. So yeah, I'm thinking this is working. Oops. That's good. Yeah, it's worth getting one. I have to say, I don't know if they've got other ones available now. The one on Cooks and Gold, the first one I got, I think it was it like dark grey or black? And it just didn't cut. It was really bad. And at the time, it was the only option on the website. So, yeah, I don't recommend that one. But I don't know, maybe they've got more options, or if they've got they might have like taken feedback that they weren't sharp enough. I might have just got a dud, to be fair. But yeah, that's good that you got a voucher, and happy birthday for yesterday. Yeah, I think Cooks and Gold is pretty good for trying out tools, because you can also return stuff. They're pretty good. With that, you just need a printer in your house, which I did not have when I first started, and so when I needed to return something, I was having to like during lockdown, like try and find a way to print off a returns label, which was a bit annoying, but oh, can you see my hand shaking? That's interesting. Yeah, no worries. I don't want to obviously like try whatever you would like, but that was my experience with that one. You can get ones that look like, I don't know how to describe it, but instead of being round, they're like fully made of metal, and it's almost like if you looked at it from the top, it would look like a cog, and all of the edges are sharp, and they look amazing, but I don't know where you buy those. I haven't seen any online yet, but to be fair, I haven't really looked very hard, because I got that one off like eBay or somewhere, and it worked much better than the other one, so I was just like, meh, this do for now. But I think if I was going to upgrade, I would look for one of those ones that's like fully metal. I know, this is the only thing about like people working from home and stuff. I think as much as I think you should use as minimal packaging and paper as possible, because you don't want to be wasting stuff, I also think that during lockdown, companies should probably provide a returns note, because it was quite annoying, because I didn't even own a printer, and I do now, because I post stuff so much, but yeah, it's a pain. just noticed there's the forehead's a bit uneven, so I'm just adding some on the other side. Amazing. I love that. Love a good YouTube tutorial for random household issue. So satisfying. Actually, that's a point. There's supposed to be someone coming to help me fix my dishwasher and they haven't arrived. And I completely forgot about it until now. If the doorbell goes, I might have to go. Right, let's add a tooth. So here I'm just trying to smooth out the like seams between the two different kinds of waxes where there's like a line where one meets the other one, so I'm just trying to like smooth that out. How is your ring going? It was the cliff one, wasn't it? Where are you up to? Possibly the eyes are a bit close together. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's surprisingly time consuming, isn't it? I haven't done eBay for a long, like years and years, but any kind of thing where you have to list it, oh gosh, it takes forever. So this is a real like thing that I think with wax you have to like get over the hump of, like the fear that you're going to ruin all of the something that you've put so much time into. Like it's a real fear, and I've spoken to other beginners about this as well, that like my best tip, even though I'm still a beginner really, but my best tip is that you have to not be afraid that you're going to ruin it. And I guess it's different if you only have like a kit, because it's harder to fix it, or you don't have like the option to start on another wax necessarily. But yeah, I think it's really difficult, but you do kind of just have to get comfortable with the risk that you might sort of spoil something. But like, I mean, take this skull as an example though. When I first started it, I knew I didn't think it looked perfect, but I couldn't really figure out how. And it's only by continuously doing things that I thought, this might ruin this, that I've managed to get it to a place that I think it actually has improved. But I completely get the fear. It's like very reasonable. The seagulls, do you know what? Like, don't speak too loud because they're probably going to come. But they came once earlier when I was working on my computer, and were knocking on the window and all kinds and being very annoying. And then I actually haven't seen them again since then. So I'm hoping they are already bored of me, but it's very likely that they'll come and arrive at some point. Okay, so you do have one spare. So I guess it's that thing of just being like, if you do ruin it, if it does break and you can't fix it, then that was necessary for you to learn to be able to do it again on a new one. Oh, I've given him a bit of a weird expression. Do we like that? Shall I do that on the other eye? I kind of think that's cuter, actually. I'm going to do that on the other eye. I'm starting to get cramp inside of my hand as well. I need to be careful. Sad skull. Yeah, you do kind of have to just be brave and do it. And yeah, everything's a learning curve, so just try not to beat yourself up if it does go wrong. But also sometimes you do things that are happy accidents. So like, I think you gotta be open to that as well. Like just then, I didn't actually mean to add that wax where it went, but then it made the eye look sad, and I was like, oh, actually that looks better. So yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. I think this is pretty good. I need to figure out how to refine that bit now. Right, okay. Yeah, the sad eyebrow is good, isn't it? I like, that was completely accidental, but I actually think it looks great. So sad. Okay, let's... So I'm just... So if you can see, there's like quite a lot of marks in that green section there from where I was carving away material. So I'm going to try and smooth that a little bit now before I put detail in. I still think this isn't probably like anatomically correct, but I think it looks more like a real skull than it did before. And before it looked a lot more similar to this one. So like, I do think there's quite a big difference, which is really satisfying to see. Do people learn this at uni? Yes, apparently they do. I did English at uni, so I obviously didn't learn this at uni. But yeah, from what I've seen online and speaking to other people, they people who do jewellery courses, there are definitely some that include wax carving, and I was looking at doing courses when I was first starting, and they definitely exist, and there's, I cannot remember where, but there's definitely a few places that do specific like courses for wax carving and casting and stuff, which I think is really cool. And then there's other ones that are like general jewellery ones that go through lots of different things, and you might do carving as like one technique of many. I'm really pleased with that accidental eyebrow. But the other thing is, I think there are courses that exist that you don't have to be, it's not like a uni course. That does exist as well. I'm just changing to a curved blade here. So that's something else to remember, is that there's courses, some of them are at universities, some of them are connected to degrees, but lots of them aren't. They do exist sort of like independently. I'm waiting actually for a book to arrive, so someone who's very active in the online UK wax carving group, called Russell Lounsborough, I think. He's written a book on wax carving, which is interesting because there's not that many out there, and the ones that are out there don't have that good reviews, or they're not super they're not like super widely available. And so that was on pre-order, and I think it's just been released, or it's just about to be released, like this week. So if that's any good, I'll let you know. Because I think that might be helpful, having like, I think he does teach classes, so it'll be a book by someone who does teach. Yeah, I am going to keep the eyebrows, I love them. I have never used silver clay. The book that I'm just talking about, the Russell, I think if you look on Amazon for a wax carving book by Russell Lounsborough, I think it's called like Wax Carving for Jewellery, but like all of the books about it are called that. So if you message me, I can send you the link, and I also have a link for the non-Amazon version, if you want to avoid Amazon. But I can't think properly off the top of my head. I think his name's Russell Lounsborough, and I think it's called Wax Carving for Jewellery, but I can send you the link if you're interested. But obviously I haven't read it yet because it hasn't arrived yet, so I don't know if it's any good yet. Just for reference as well, the book that I'm getting all of my images and stuff from is this Graveside Companion. It's a Thames and Hudson book, and I love it. It's great. That's more just for like inspiration though, it doesn't have anything to do with wax carving. Right, I know, this is the thing I don't know actually, is how my favourite finishing techniques are going to go on this kind of wax. Right, let's test it. I'm using a bit of orange oil on a bit of tights. Oh, it smells so good. Oh, cool. Okay. Seems to be holding up pretty well. I think he and his partner run an online shop together. I think his Instagram is more the shop than the process. But if I can remember the name of it, I'll send it to you. Oh my gosh, saw this amazing person the other day. He does incredible carving. Like, literally, I can't believe that he does that with his hands. Because a lot of rings that you see that are like this kind of style now, that are cheap, like cheaply made, they are 3D printed, which is like obviously a skill in itself, being able to create something on a computer and 3D print it and then cast that. But the ones that he makes are like, I don't even think a computer could do it. They're incredible. God, what's his name? This is annoying me, I can't remember, but I'll send you that as well, because that's really, like, that person's really inspiring and amazing. And they're a teacher as well, but I don't know where in Europe, not in the UK, I don't think. But yeah, they're so amazing. That person is so amazing. I'm going to have to find it and show you, because they're so good. I'm just trying to file this area here a bit smoother. Oops. Okay, I need to pay more attention to what I'm doing. Stop, Jessica. Kept doing that thing where I'm like sort of looking at the screen, sort of looking at something else. My hands are starting to shake, so I need to actually watch what I'm doing. I think his teeth are kind of wonky. I kind of think that's fine. I keep thinking I've done it, and then I see a little tiny bit that I've missed. Oops, bit tight. What do we think? Pretty pleased with this, I have to say. I definitely think this is what I was aiming for, something like this. I need to put some detail on the sort of, I want to call it the gums. I know it's not gums because it's bone, but whatever that bit is of the face, whatever that's called. It's really been really fun, like, using this new wax, because I've suddenly had like new ideas for things I want to make, which is really exciting. It sounds silly, but like, I don't know, there's something really fun about like having new ideas, because I have like lists and lists of ideas of stuff that I think I want to make, but I don't know, like, I'm never going to just make all of them, because I wouldn't be able to pay to cast them all. So like this one might not get cast, I don't really know yet. Because no one's going to buy it, because it's for me. Like, maybe I'll offer it and say it's whatever size this is and see if people are interested in ordering it and paying for the casting. But yeah, using the new wax and like thinking of like new how this will be good for other techniques I've tried that I haven't been that good at before. I now think I'll be able to use more like build-up techniques with this because it's so much easier, so much nicer to work with. You'll really see the improvement. Yeah, thank you. I think there is quite a big difference, isn't there? And I mean, like I said before, this is like a deliberately simplified ring, but I feel quite pleased that I can do something so different, because I remember at the time this was like so hard. Like this was the like most what's the word, like ambitious thing that I'd tried. So yeah, it's really satisfying to like try something that is still hard but come out with something quite different and like, you know, more skills and stuff being used in it. So yeah, thank you. But yeah, pretty pleased with it. These are the other kind of things I was making, so like, you know, nice big signet rings, and this one's got a flower in it. Again, I think I could probably do this better now. It's still quite a cool design though, isn't it? Quite like that. It's very heavy, oh my goodness. But yeah. Right. Let's add that detail that I've been talking about for ages. See, I'm doing it again. I'm like putting off doing the next thing because I'm worried that it's gonna spoil what I've done. But you just have to accept it and go with it and hope that it won't. So, right, which tool do I want to use? Maybe this one? I'm going to zoom in really close so you can see it. It's just so much easier to put it off than it is to actually like commit. But you'll never finish if you never finish. That's my wise words of today. You see what I'm doing? Apparently there is a new TV show coming. So I don't know if you watch like Bake Off and the Great British Sewing Bee and the Pottery Throwdown. I don't know if you watch those. I love those shows. There's one on Netflix called Blown Away, which is a glass blowing one, which is American. And I love them. I love that like format of TV. I think they're always really wholesome, and it's really satisfying to watch people do creative things. I think that's why I like doing these lives, because it's the kind of thing I like watching. And yeah, there's a new one coming out on the BBC, and I think it's called All That Glitters, and it's going to be a jewellery competition. And I'm interested because I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. You know, when something's actually to do with stuff that you're interested in, you kind of think either I'm going to love this or I'm going to think this is rubbish. And like, yeah, but you might like that, it'd be cool. So yeah, I don't know when it's supposed to come on. I think it was supposed to get filmed this last year, just gone, and obviously they couldn't film it because of coronavirus. But Catherine Ryan, the comedian, is going to be the like host, and I think she's great, so it's kind of fun. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I'm not vibing with it though. Yeah, All That Glitters on BBC apparently, but I don't know exactly, but I saw a article about it earlier. What else could I use? I don't think this is really happening. I just need to keep going. I'm convinced I'm going to break the teeth though. Which, to be honest, would be fine. I'd be able to just build them up again, but it's just There's only so many times I want to do these teeth. I've broken them quite a lot of times. Like, I will just get bored eventually of putting teeth in. Yeah, no worries. I'm excited. I'll need to double check when it's supposed to be coming out. But yeah, I do love a good British competition craft show. It's a very odd genre, but I like it. It's good. Okay, this is good. So here's another example of when a minute ago I was like, this isn't working, I need to change tools, da-da-da. But just carry on. Sometimes it starts to take the shape that you are intending. Like sometimes I'm not patient enough. Oh, okay, that'll be why I don't know when it's coming out. Oops. I should remind myself as well to like look around, because I give myself an eye strain by looking at stuff that's too close. I should give myself a second. Spring 2021. Yeah, next couple of months then, I would say. It's definitely almost officially spring, which like is so great. I don't think I've ever been so excited for spring. I've never really thought of myself as a particularly summery person either. Like I usually like autumn and winter, like, you know, being cozy inside and like snowy weather and whatever. But this year, sorry, I just knocked out with my head. This year, I cannot wait. Like the few sunny days that we've had so far, I've been like, oh my gosh, I feel like a new person. Like so happy and positive. So nice when the sun comes out finally after what feels like a really long winter. Our weather's gonna be rubbish again here, but I've just noticed there's a little nick in the top. There's like a little crack, sort of. It's not a crack, a little bit where there's a bit taken out, so I'm just trying to fix that up before I start filing it all down. That didn't work. That's better. So I'm going to start with just this fine file. Oh, maybe I need my toothbrush for this. But yeah, I'm gonna, you can see all of the like file marks from when I was doing this before. So now I'm gonna take the finer file and try and smooth it all out, and then I'll try and get rid of those file marks after that as well. So I'm just going in like really gently with the fine tooth file. Basically just replacing all the really big marks with little ones, which are easier to get rid of. So now I'm just taking it all the way to the edges, so this would have been filed flat, so it had a bit of a face. So I'm trying to round that off so that when it's worn, it's comfortable because the edge is round, but also so we don't have like a random flat edge. So you want the whole thing to sort of look like one nice smooth piece of silver. So the other thing to be wary of is that I'm smoothing around the outside, but then I do need to go in and smooth around this side because otherwise this can feel quite sharp when it's made into the silver. So I'm just going to try and really carefully do that as well. I might switch to half round file to do that. And this will kind of create another corner against what I was just filing, which makes it sharper, but then you can take that off and then the whole thing is nice and round. Trying to keep wiping the filings off as well, because they're just going to get stuck in places we don't want them. So I'm just trying to do the same on the top now. The inside's feeling a little bit rough as well, and I think partly I've learned to clean that up better in silver, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I am just going to give it a little file to try and soften some of the lines that have appeared from the blade when we sized it. I also would usually carve into this piece here, into the front bit, to like widen it so it's a bit more comfortable to wear. I'm not sure if I can do that because I did the eyes so deep, and I might risk making holes, so I'm not sure about what I do about that yet. For now, I'm just going to keep on finishing, so I can always do that at the end. Because it's on the inside, it doesn't really make too much of a difference to the rest of everything else. I'm going to start on the sort of polishing, so I'm going to first of all go over it with a piece of tights to like catch any of that lint that's really small and hard to like brush off. So I've just been filing with a really fine file to try and smooth out the band a little bit. And now I'm going to, so I'm using a piece of tights, like tights that I wear. Obviously I don't wear these ones, to collect that lint that's been created from the filing. So yeah. Try and get into the like holes that I've made, because that's where lots of this lint ends up, and it's hard to get out. Right, so this is looking better. Just going to do it one more once over with my fine file, because I can still see a couple of marks. It's kind of hard to see them when all of that lint is in the way. So it's good to try and keep it clean. Zoom in a little bit for you guys. That's better. It's annoying, sometimes you have like one deep scratch. It means you have to like work the whole ring twice as much. Luckily I don't seem to have any massive scratches, so the cleanup shouldn't be too difficult. Touch wood though, obviously, because it's me, so anything could happen. How is everyone? How are your afternoons going? It is nice and sunny in Brighton finally today, after like a week of really, really, really rubbish weather. So I'm hoping if I get a good amount of work done, I can go to the post office to post an order and then maybe take my skates out. I don't know how much delay there is between me speaking in the chat and like you being able to see, hear it even. It is unknown to me currently. Cool, so that was filing with the fine file. Thank you so much. And then I'm going to polish it, try and take out those tiny lines. And then I'm thinking I'm going to maybe try and add some like crack marks in the skull. I think that might just like elevate it a tiny bit, make it a little bit more interesting. And I think that if it goes really badly, it shouldn't be too hard to fix. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to do my trusty orange oil on the tights method for this. So I like to just like wrap it around my finger a couple of times so that it's like nice and tight. Just because I feel like it, I don't know, just feels good. It feels like the way to do it. Don't know if it is the way to do it, but. So then you can see all of the, I don't know if you can see the tiny amount of texture on there. That's what we're trying to get rid of. So the oil acts as a little solvent, and it should help smooth this out and make it like nice and shiny rather than matte. But shiny because there's no scratches rather than because there's oil on it, because obviously it looks shiny now, but that's because it's covered in oil. Probably put a little bit much on really, but that's okay. How is everyone? Yeah, that's definitely working. This is the other nice thing about this dental wax, is that some of the other waxes I use to build up don't react nicely to oil or to solvents. It makes them go like a bit gummy and matte, but this one seems to be able to stand up to it a little bit. I don't think it really seems to make much of a difference to the actual, I don't really know. Maybe it does a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't go gummy like injection wax does, which I like. Polish, polish, polish. Try and get any of the bits where you can see, or I can see, that there's lint, because the oil will pick that up as well. And anywhere there's like weird scratches, try and rub that out. Cool. So this is how it's looking now. Don't know if you can see the difference. Like obviously there is still, oh, there's definitely some marks there. But like you're seeing this in like a direct bright light. I don't know if you can see that most of those little scratches have gone now and it's mostly shiny. That's what we want. I'm just going to go over this section here, which I just noticed. It's the thing, it's really hard when you've got lots of types of waxes. Sometimes it's harder to see areas that need more work because the different colours draw your eye more than what's like under it or next to it. Yeah, the tights trick is amazing. I'm glad that I heard that pretty early. It really does help. And even just for like picking up the bits, it's so hard to get those tiny filings like off the wax. And if you send them to cast with them still there, it will come out like that. Like you'd think it would, well, I don't know, you wouldn't imagine it would make a huge difference, but it kind of does. Okay, I'm noticing a couple of bits that need adding to as well. Yeah, what do we reckon on trying to add cracks to the skull? Do you have faith that I'll be able to do it? Because I don't know if I do. It's better. Authentic vibes, yeah, exactly. I want it to be... The whole point of this one was that I was trying to make it look a bit more realistic. Yeah, okay, cool. Right, if people are on board, we try, is what I'm thinking. See, I say that and then I look at it and I think, can I actually do that? But, well, like I said, if I can't, it shouldn't be too hard to fix it. Alright, let's have a look for a reference picture. I also have to decide what tool to use for this. I'm not sure. Because I could just add random cracks, but I think it might be nice if I can have a little idea of vaguely where might look good. Because I know you've kind of got like a seam in your head, like it's got on here. From when you're a baby and your like skull fuses back together, you tend to have like a quarter shape on your skull. But I don't think that would look that good. So I'm thinking, can we see some other cracks that might look good? maybe this kind of thing. If you can see that. These guys have some little, like that's part of the seam mark. Maybe that's what we're going to go for. Where would that go? Do you know what? I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to see what happens. I've decided. Let's move the top away. Right, what do we think? For making scratches or like cracks in the skull, a scrapey kind of thing like this, which is like sort of sharp, or like this? Or do I go proper sharp and use a... Whoa. Sorry, just knocking my lights over. Or do I use a blade? Not sure. Let's try with this first. So, it looks a bit dull. This is the thing, none of my tools are super sharp, but let's have a go. I'm gonna just put some cracks into this guy. Oh, this is difficult. I think it's that thing of when you've worked on something for quite a long time and just feeling like, am I about to spoil this? Am I just about to make it rubbish? Also, I need to remember as well, this will be one smooth piece, so I can actually add cracks here as well, if I want to. Can you see what I'm doing? What do we reckon? Bring that further forward? Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually pretty pleased with it. Which is, one, I think I don't say that much, and two, I think that I go back and forward between a lot. So I'll be like, oh, it's actually pretty good for ages, and then 5 minutes later I'll be like, this is crap. But for now, it's good. Feeling good about it. Until I spoil it. Yeah, okay. Right. I guess if we're gonna have cracks, we can go for it and make it like a proper feature. Can you see what I'm doing? Use. Some like branching off from each other, I think, is good as well. I really like this wax, it's really good. How about that? What do we think? I think that looks quite good. Just get another tool just to smooth out a bit, I've noticed. A backstory for this guy so that we know the condition he should be in. Give us a biography. Maybe you guys can help me come up with one. Amy said he's been hit in the head, which probably means that he was in some kind of altercation before his death. Also, he's clearly turned out to be a he because we're all talking of him as he. Feel free to suggest names, guys. What do we think? What does he look like to you, apart from sad and dead? Thank you. Might do some on this side in a different place. Not sure. Don't want to overdo it either, you know. Prince Philip, oh my goodness. Very funny. Henry. What was the other one? Gregor. Gregor's quite good. Yeah, maybe he's been in a like European catacomb for a while, like part of the wall. That's why he's looking a bit battered.
I don't know. It's hard to think off the top of my head. I hadn't really thought about it.
Cool myths about skulls. I mean, just the fact that catacombs exist at all is pretty interesting and gross. Not gross, maybe that's mean, but it's a like a real prevalent thing in like Catholic European countries. I'm sure there's a section in here about them, where basically like whole rooms are like decorated with the bones of the dead. But it's not seen as like a disrespectful thing. Like we kind of think of using remains as really disrespectful, but it wasn't at the time. And like kind of the whole point of these places was that they were tombs. So like this pretty amazing one. Yeah. So like human relic as well. So you have catacombs and places where there are skulls, remains of skulls all over the place. Like these, you know, this is a wall made of skulls. These interesting things here. Preserving heads. So like some of this is like enemies, but that's not what I'm talking about really. What I'm talking about is like keeping bones as like memories of the dead and like displaying them. And then this is where you also get things like mourning jewellery. So not usually bones, to be fair, but things like hair. These are so amazing. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like Catholic catacombs and stuff. Can you see that? So these ones are like dressed up in like these amazing elaborate clothes and like jewelry, and it's just incredible. And apparently these ones are from Rome and 16th to 19th century, and they're saints. So like because they were specifically the body of a saint, they've been like kept and preserved. And like this guy has eyes, like so creepy but so cool. And then here we've got like more pictures of catacombs here as well. So like they'll be like sometimes underneath churches, and they tend to be quite old, but like not as old as you would think. And yeah, you can go and like visit them now and stuff, but I just think it's really interesting. And like it's kind of morbid, like dressing up bodies, but I think it was sort of seen as like a positive thing, you know? That orange wide guy a few pages back. That orange wide guy, let's have a look. This guy. Who is he? I don't even know. Oh, it's a funeral sculpture, apparently. So it says, Niombo, also called a Muzidi, is an ancestor figure made by the Bembe people of the Congo who consider art to be sacred. The main purpose of the Niombo is to enable the living to stay in contact with the dead. It was believed that they housed the spirit of the deceased who remained active members of the family. So cute. Like, he looks kind of spooky, but like that's a really nice idea. Okay, yeah. But yeah, it's really interesting, and like I just think, I don't know, I think we're quite disconnected from that kind of thing. We're quite disconnected from the ways that people remembered their dead, or we do it very differently now. And I think actually all these like weird old things, they come from like really nice ideas of like trying to stay in contact and trying to remember the dead, or like remembering death, I guess, as well. The whole memento mori thing, like there's a kind of cynical side of it, which is that, you know, you have to remember that you'll die, and therefore you should be you know, you should be devout and you should live a holy life because you're about to die. But then there's the other thing, which is basically like YOLO. You know, like remember death, like live your life, and also remember the dead. So memento mori jewelry is sometimes a reminder of death, as in like, oh, you should be careful, you're going to die soon. And sometimes is a reminder of a specific person who died, like a remembrance piece rather than a like call to remember that you're going to die yourself, but also that, you know, if your loved ones have died, then that is a reminder that you will also die, which I don't know, maybe is a bit morbid, but yeah, I am actually really okay. I haven't looked at it for a minute, and now I'm like, yeah, okay, this cracks are good. We like this cracks. Should I add one down here? What do we think? Also, I think this still needs a bit of work. It looks a bit not very neat. So let's do a little bit more on that. What do you guys think about the, I don't know, the sort of like morbid connections of like this aesthetic of things? What's the consensus? Because obviously, like, I wear a skull ring, but it's not to remember a dead person, or, you know, it's not specifically for anything. I just think it's interesting, and I like the aesthetic of it. What do you guys think? Oh, I think I just heard a seagull. I like the idea of cracks on the side too, like it's all one thing that's had wear and tear. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. More of like a one that has been, that is like kind of an old skull. I think that's kind of a nice idea. But before I do that, I do need to make a nice smooth surface for it to go in. I also need to plug my phone in. I can't believe going live really takes the battery out of my phone. Right. Let me plug in 1 second. Okay. Now I just have to be careful not to like yank the wire. Ooh, gosh. Okay. My ex has a skull ring, and he said it was from his great-grandfather who fought in World War One, and it was taken from a dead German. That's a real story. That is a real story. Wow. That's intense. But like, fair enough, I guess. Yeah, a bit of a like an odd vibe, because it's a cool story, an interesting story. But when you think about, I don't know, the realities of war and having actually killed someone and then taking something from their dead body, like, that's pretty intense. Not that I judge anyone who actually did anything in the wars. Like, I sit at home and make jewellery. But yeah, no, he's not even inside. It's just the bird, and he's literally still sat there because he can see me. I think the next door neighbour feeds them out his window. Right, I'm gonna try and add another little crack now. So let me just move my lights. Now we brush off the bits. What do we reckon? It's looking a bit messy in that corner. That one's a bit straight actually. Okay, I think that's probably enough. I don't want to overdo it. These are a bit less deep than that top one. What do we think? Kind of hard to see what it's going to look like when it's in silver. It's a bit of a knack to like getting the hang of being able to imagine what it's going to look like. Just noticed a scratch. Let me get that out. Thank you. Pretty pleased with the teeth on this one. Right, I think I'm nearly done with this, you know. So I think I am actually going to have this cast. So I don't know if anyone who's watching who has been following these lives, I've been saying, oh, I don't know if I'll get it cast. I think I am going to. But that's the secret. But I feel like the outside is now a nice, shiny, easily cleanable in silver surface. We've got some crack details there. Feel pretty good about it. I think it's looking good. And yeah, if we get it back in silver, this will all just be polished up, and then the inside I might grind out a little bit. But yeah, this is it basically. This is the finished piece. So like, thank you so much if you have been watching from the beginning, because it's like hours worth of stuff. I haven't actually added it all up, but I think it's like even just the lives is something like 5 hours, and I did a bit outside of that as well. So yeah, I really appreciate people who have been here and chatting and asking questions and helping me decide what to do, because I think it's come out really nice, and I'm pretty pleased with, like, the whole point of this was to see my progress and see if I have improved, and I do think I have, which is kind of a hard thing to, I don't know, like, you know, you get a bit self-conscious about things that's like skill-based, or I do anyway, and because I haven't got any training or anything, it's easy for me to worry that you know, people think it's rubbish, or maybe I'm not that good. So it's nice to have like some physical evidence of like a before and after kind of thing. I don't know where oh, there it is. So yeah, if that's the before, definitely differences.